Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Hello everybody, I'm Ed Robinson and welcome to another exciting edition of Striving for It All. This is the program that gets you caught up on anything and everything happening around the WNBA. Coming up on this edition of the program, we'll recap opening week of the 2024 WNBA season. Also, we'll have your current league standings. We'll give you information on the new expansion team and so much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. All right, I want to start off with talking about my top three storylines. I want to start off talking about CaitlinClark. Yep, the number one overall pick in this year's WNBA draft, and definitely all eyes were not just on the whole league, but most importantly, all eyes are definitely on Caitlin. Opening week came in, it was such a fever pitch. The opening game against the Connecticut Sun had a rough going in the beginning. She was able to finish with over 20 points. We'll get into more in the recap of the games in just a little bit. But Caitlin, so far in her short time in the WNBA, it hasn't been easy. She's been knocked down. She rolled an ankle in one of the games, and there have been some players in the W. They've been very critical of her, a little bit of cattiness, a little bit of jealousy, and Caitlin is really having a hard time. She's still on that adjustment. She's on that learning curve. She's going through her growing pains. She's realizing that this is not Iowa City, Iowa anymore. This is the pros. This is the professional leagues. This is the WNBA, and we're seeing Caitlin go through her growing pains. Will this continue? I don't think this is going to continue for a long period of time. I think slowly but surely the fever will kind of get into a groove. Hopefully, with Caitlin continue to adjust to the pace of the WNBA, and also too with her head coach Christy Sides, Aaliyah Boston, Nalissa Smith and company. Hopefully it can gel, and hopefully they can get on a winning streak. But Caitlin going through her growing pains on the court. Now off the court, again, the endorsements continue. This week she signed a sponsorship deal with United States sporting goods company Wilson to have her signature collection. The company is going to release a signature collection of items, including limited edition basketball. So again, congratulations to CaitlinClark. Continue to get it done off the court. She already has endorsement deals with brands such as Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, just to name a few. And now you can add Wilson Sporting Goods to the list as well. So again, the Wilson Sporting Goods Company, they'll release 3 limited edition white and gold basketballs featuring CaitlinClark commemorating her first season in the WNBA. So it's been a rough start for her on the court, but off the court, she's continuing to shine and continue to expand her brand. And we'll get more into Caitlin a little bit as we recap opening week in the W. My next storyline is going to be AngelReese. Angel, talented, but Angel does not bite her tongue, and hey, she had a lot to say this week, and it was in reference to CaitlinClark and the team that she plays for, the Indiana Fever. So Reese had a message for the WNBA and the television networks that carry the league. She said, in quote, she wants all 12 teams in the league to get as much coverage as the Indiana Fever are getting, thanks in large part to CaitlinClark, end quote. Angel, she's never been bashful. She's never been one to hold back, bite her tongue, always speaking her mind on how she feels. And for those of you that may have not known, the Indiana Fever this year will have 36 of their 40 regular season games to air on national television. And Angel was just saying that she wants not only the Chicago Sky, but the rest of the other teams in the league to get similar treatment. Now, I will say this. I think that she's right to a certain extent, but let's be clear. The CaitlinClark effect is real. Caitlin has had not just more women, getting more women to watch the WNBA, even more men to continue to watch the W. So CaitlinClark brought in the charter flights, the CaitlinClark effect with the charter flights, endorsement deals, everything is happening. This is kind of like a renaissance. If you can, this rookie class with Caitlin, Angel, Cameron Brink, Camila Cardozo, also Kate Martin, Rakia Jackson, J.C. Sheldon, just to name a few. This is similar to the class of 2003 where you had LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, just to name a few. This is similar to that. Now, there has been a ton of coverage following CaitlinClark and Indiana Fever, and rightfully so, because Caitlin is kind of like the engine that's trying to drive this renaissance and to get more people to invest in the W, not just from a television or a streaming standpoint, but from a financial standpoint as well. So, Angel, she's right on some parts. There should be more emphasis on the other teams as well, but, Caitlin, she's currently the driving force behind this right now, and I think it's warranted to, when you have her being featured this year on the majority of the games, other teams will follow. And Chicago is a great team as well, and we'll get more into the Sky a little bit later on, but her, and then with Camila Cardozo coming back from her shoulder injury real soon, the Sky is definitely going to make some noise. And AngelReese, she's a part of this renaissance, this revival, but let's just hang in there, Angel. Everything will follow suit. Just ride the back of Caitlin a little bit, and everything is going to follow suit. And Angel, similar to Caitlin, not only getting it done on the court, but also off the court as well, because Angel is now the co-owner of a professional soccer team called the DC Power FC, the DC Power Football Club. They are an American women's soccer club based in Washington, D.C., and they are a member of a soccer league called the USL Super League, which is a soon-to-be Division I professional women's soccer league in the United States. So just like CaitlinClark, AngelReese continuing to add to her portfolio off the court with countless sponsorship deals, and now part owner of a professional soccer team, the DC Power FC. So congratulations to Angel, not only getting it done on the court, but also off the court as well. And certainly, what can you say about her? Bold on the court, bold off the court as well. But that's why I love her. That's why not everybody loves her, but I love her as well, just in terms her game is going to develop. She's going to continue to do what she needs to do, not just on the court, but off the court as well. So kudos to AngelReese and getting that deal done, becoming part owner of the DC Power FC professional women's soccer team. And for my last storyline, it is official. The new expansion team that will premiere in the 2025 WNBA season will be in the San Francisco Bay Area. The name of the team is called the San Francisco Valkyries. That's right, the San Francisco Valkyries. Now, it's an interesting name right there because I had to look up the word, what a Valkyrie is, because I think I've seen that word maybe only, and quite honest with you, only maybe several times in my life, but I had to look up the word and do some research on it. But if you know the basketball team in the Bay Area, the Golden State Warriors, they used to play across the bay in Oakland. Now they moved back to San Francisco. So now the WNBA in 2025 will have the San Francisco Valkyries. So for those of you that don't know what a Valkyrie is, here is the definition of Valkyrie. In Norse mythology, a Valkyrie is one of a host of female figures who guide souls of the dead to the god Odin's hall Valhalla. So it has an old Norse mythology to that whole culture. So long story short, in 2025, the new WNBA expansion team, their name will be called the San Francisco Valkyries. And so everybody's pumped up for it in the Bay Area. Long overdue. They should have had one a while back, but again, as we're seeing with more people tuning into the W, money starting to come in, and hopefully with a continued exposure, and again, this draft class, this 2024 draft class with CaitlinClark and AngelReese and Camila Cardozo, hopefully that can be the springboard for something big. And then in 2026, there'll be the new expansion team in Toronto. There's no name for it as of yet, but right now in 2025, the new WNBA expansion team will be the Golden State Valkyries. All right, so that takes care of that. Here's some more news to pass along to you. I mentioned about AngelReese. Well, her teammate is expected to return on June 1st. Camila Cardozo. Camila suffered a shoulder injury in practice, and it sidelined her for a while, but the official date for her to return will be June 1st. So that's going to be huge because Teresa Weatherspoon so far has done a great job in this short part of the season for the as the head coach of the Chicago Sky. And now with AngelReese already making noise with the team, and then you add Camila Cardozo in the mix as well, man, that is like a walking double-double within itself. A lot of rebounding, a lot of defense, and a lot of second-chance points. Everything is going to be on and popping. So Camila is expected to return June 1st from her shoulder injury. And also Nika Mule. Nika Mule premiered this week. She was unable to play in the first several games against the Seattle Storm. She had problems obtaining a work visa, but she was of course, you know, she's a native of Croatia, so she was unable to participate in the first several games of the season for the Seattle Storm, but she was able to play in the game on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, against CaitlinClark in the Indiana Fever. So Nika is playing in the WNBA. She premiered on Wednesday, so kudos to her for finally together, and now she can join her team and be a member of the Seattle Storm. All right, so that takes care of our news, and now it's time to recap opening week in the WNBA. So Tuesday, May 14th was opening night, and all eyes were on the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. It was a record sellout in Connecticut, and rightfully so, because everybody was waiting for the debut of CaitlinClark. Caitlin, what would she do? How would she play? Would she come out okay? Would she be raining threes, or with the Connecticut Sun with their defense? What would they do? Would they stymie her? Would they stifle her? Well, here's how the highlights ran with CaitlinClark on opening night.
And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside and lay it in. There are the first points in the WNBA career of CaitlinClark. Back Benley. Here's Clark, a good look from three. She got it! The first three in the career of CaitlinClark. Here's Clark off a screen, gets a look, and probing, drags out Nelson Adota. Clark will fire, and hits a three. Here's Clark with Phantom guarding her. Clark gets bumped, will take, and hit from three.
All right, that audio courtesy of the WNBA and ESPN2. Ryan Rucco on the call. So CaitlinClark. Caitlin, she had her moments. She had her moments when she was doing well, and, you know, she didn't have a bad game, but Connecticut was just too much, man. Just the defense, the physical play, the rebounding. I mean, Dejanay Carrington, she played lockdown defense on Caitlin. Dejanay, and not to mention the scoring of Dewana Bonner and the rest of the crew, just to name a few. But Alyssa Thomas, the walking double-double herself, just can't be stopped. Here's Alyssa in action.
Thomas takes it in on the spin. Melissa Smith loses it. Thomas all alone to the rim. As Jones finds Thomas for the tough finish.
All right, again, that audio courtesy of the WNBA and ESPN2. So as I stated earlier, Alyssa Thomas, hey, listen, you talk about one of the best in the business in terms of taking charge, being assertive, especially in the paint, getting rebounds, making cool passes, and just, Alyssa is the walking double-double. Caitlin, opening night was all about Caitlin, but the win in the grand scheme of things, it belonged to the Connecticut Sun. And again, Caitlin and the rest of the crew, they did their thing, but Connecticut was just way too much for them. And again, the final score the Connecticut Sun would go on to win was 92-71. So as I mentioned earlier, with Alyssa Thomas and the Connecticut Sun, Alyssa finished with a triple-double. She had 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists. Dewana Bonner finished with 20 points. Dejanay Carrington, what a game, 16 points. Taisha Harris had 16 points. Rachel Banham finished with 10 points. In the losing effort for the Indiana Fever, CaitlinClark, opening night, her first game, she finished with 20 points. And Alyssa Smith finished with 13 points. So again, the final score was Connecticut 92, Indiana 71. Also, another action, we had the New York Liberty beat the Washington Mystics 85-80. The Minnesota Lynx beat the Seattle Storm 83-70. And we had the Las Vegas Aces beat the Phoenix Mercury 89-80. So the defending champions, hey, they handled home court. They handled their business on opening night. We move along now to action from Wednesday, May 15th. We had the Dallas Wings go up against the Chicago Sky, and Dallas were going to win 87-79. Arike Ogunbowale. Again, if you had not had an opportunity to watch the Dallas Wings play this year, Arike, man, she is a walking buzzer beater and a walking assist, and then some. Here she is in action.
Arike drops it. Arike, no. This time, easy layup for Arike. Arike, the follow-away over Mabry, got it. Shot clock at 7. Arike, got it. Arike with the steal from Mabry. Got the 3, Arike.
All right, that audio courtesy of the WNBA and League Pass. Arike Ogunbowale was sensational. Again, the final score, Dallas 87, Chicago 79. Arike Ogunbowale finished with 25 points. Natasha Howard had a double-double with 15 points and 13 rebounds. Tiara McCowan had a double-double with 18 points, 13 rebounds. And Maddie Zegrist finished with 13 points. On the losing end for the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese, in her first WNBA game, she finished with 12 points. Diamond DeShields finished with 14 points. Elizabeth Williams had 12 points. Marina Mabry finished with 19 points. And Dana Evans finished with 10 points. Again, the final score was the Dallas Wings 87, the Chicago Sky 79. Also, another action, we had the Atlanta Dream would go on to beat the Los Angeles Sparks 92-81. We move along now to action from Thursday, May the 16th, with the New York Liberty going up against the Indiana Fever. CaitlinClark, this was her first home game in her WNBA career. Well, guess what? The homecoming was spoiled because it was all Liberty. New York would win 102-66. Breanna Stewart, man, what can't Breanna Stewart do, right? She is definitely at the peak of her powers right now. A double-double with 31 points, 10 rebounds. Jonquel Jones had a double-double with 14 points and 10 rebounds. Sabrina Ionescu finished with 15 points, and Betnijah Laney Hamilton finished with 12 points. CaitlinClark, this was the game right here where she rolled her ankle, so she was out for a little while, but she was able to come back into the game, but they just didn't have it. The Liberty's defense was just too much, too experienced, and too tough on Caitlin. She only finished with 9 points. Aaliyah Boston finished with 12 points, and Katie Lou Samuelson finished with 10 points. Again, the final score was New York 102, Indiana 66. We move along now to action from Friday, May the 17th. The Connecticut Sun handled their business, beating the Washington Mystics. Final score was the Connecticut Sun beat the Washington Mystics 84-77. And then we had a thriller in overtime with the Minnesota Lynx beating the Seattle Storm 102-93. Nafisa Collier, you talk about one of the best in the business, right? Nafisa finished with 29 points. Kayla McBride finished with 19 points. Elena Smith finished with 16 points. And Courtney Williams finished with 10 points. On the losing end for the Seattle Storm, Nneka Ogwumike had a double-double with 24 points and 11 rebounds. Skylar Diggins-Smith finished with 22 points, and Jewel Lloyd finished with 20 points. Again, the final score in overtime, Minnesota 102, Seattle 93. All right, let's move along now to action from Saturday, May the 18th. We had the New York Liberty squaring off against the Indiana Fever. CaitlinClark's New York debut. Well, yeah, the bright lights were on Broadway, or more like in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. And Caitlin, you know, she did much better in this game than in the last game against the Liberty. Here's Caitlin in action.
Clark asking for the screen. Off to Mitchell, gets a clean look, and knocks it down. As Clark able to bank it in on the drive. Clark connects on a three. Clark, she got another. Here's Clark turning the corner, lays it in. Backdoor, Clark lays it in. Clark connects on a deep three. Katie Lou Samuelson can't hit the long two. Stays here with Indiana. Clark, a deep one. You bet! Clark trying to take her defender, pulls up and hits. Here's Clark. Here comes Sabali. Clark drags her out, races in. Clark will lay it home.
All right, that audio courtesy of the WNBA and ABC. Ryan Rucco on the call of that game. And certainly Caitlin was better in this game, but the Liberty were the better team. New York would win 91-80. So for the Liberty, Jonquel Jones, double-double, 14 points, 12 rebounds. Betnijah Laney Hamilton finished with 13 points. Sabrina Ionescu finished with 12 points, and Courtney Vandersloot finished with 10 points. Oh, yeah, and Brianna Stewart, right? She finished with 24 points. On the losing end for the Indiana Fever, CaitlinClark finished with 22 points. Kelsey Mitchell finished with 17 points. Aaliyah Boston had 12 points, and Melissa Smith finished with 11 points. Again, the final score, New York 91, Indiana 80. Also, another action, we had the Chicago Sky going up against the Dallas Wings. The Sky would win 83-74. So the Sky getting revenge. Remember, the last time that they played, Arike Ogunbowale was handling her business and doing her thing in the first run. In the first game, Arike was still great, but Chicago was the better team. And again, the Sky would win 83-74. Oh, there's Caitlin, and then there's AngelReese. Yeah, Angel handled her business in this game. Here she is in action.
Inside, AngelReese, the flip and got it. Gets her own miss. On top, Mabry shuffles it over. Evans for three. Offensive rebound, put back and a foul. Sheldon. Nice. Kalani. Nice job, Marina Mabry. The touchdown pass to Reese with the layup.
All right, that audio courtesy of the WNBA, NBA TV, and League Pass. So again, the Sky would win 83-74. AngelReese finished with 11 points. Diamond DeShields finished with 16 points. Elizabeth Williams had a double-double with 12 points, 10 rebounds. Marina Mabry finished with 14 points. Dana Evans and Kennedy Carter both had 12 points. On the losing end for the Wings, Arike Ogunbowale, sensational. She finished with 35 points. And then we had Kalani Brown finish with 11 points. Again, the final score, Chicago 83, Dallas 74. Also another action, we had the Las Vegas Aces beat the Los Angeles Sparks 89-82. We had the Phoenix Mercury beat the Atlanta Dream 88-85. From action on Sunday, May the 19th, we had the Seattle Storm going up against the Washington Mystics. Seattle would win 84-75. We move along now to action from Monday, May the 20th. We had the Connecticut Sun going up against the Indiana Fever. So, with Caitlin and the Fever turning around, close game, but not this time. Connecticut were going to beat the Fever 88-84. The Sun, again, sensational, right? Alyssa Thomas had a double-double, 24 points, 14 rebounds. DeWanna Bonner finished with 22 points. Taisha Harris had 16 points, and Dejanay Carrington finished with 14 points. On the losing end for the Fever, CaitlinClark, along with her teammate Kelsey Mitchell, both had 17 points. Melissa Smith finished with 13 points. Also, we had Aaliyah Boston finished with 10 points, and we had Timmy Fagbinley finished with the double-double, 11 points and 10 rebounds. Again, the final score, Connecticut 88, Indiana 84. And I stand corrected for a moment. This was the game that Caitlin had rolled her ankle and was out of action for an extended period of time. I said it was the previous game with Indiana's first home game, but it was this game against the Sun for Monday, May 20th that she rolled her ankle, so I stand corrected on that one. I apologize for that one. And then we had the other game between the Seattle Storm and the New York Liberty. The Liberty would go on to win 74-63. Let's move along now to action from Tuesday, May the 21st. The Atlanta Dream would go on to beat the Dallas Wings 83-78. The Phoenix Mercury would go on to beat the Las Vegas Aces 98-88. And the Los Angeles Sparks in a close one beat the Washington Mystics 70-68. And then we had action from Wednesday, May the 22nd between the Seattle Storm and the Indiana Fever. In a close one, Seattle would win 85-83. For Seattle, Jewel Lloyd, last year's scoring champion, a.k.a. the Gold Mamba, she's at the top of her game right now, a double-double, 32 points and 11 rebounds. Nneka Ogwumike still getting it done. She finished with 22 points. Ezzy Magbagor finished with 14 points. Sammy Whitcomb finished with 10 points. On the losing end for the Fever, CaitlinClark finished with 21 points. Kelsey Mitchell had 17 points, and Melissa Smith had a double-double with 16 points and 11 rebounds. Again, the final score, Seattle 85, Indiana 83. So the Indiana Fever still looking for their first win of the year as this show is currently airing. So that takes care of your recap of the games that had taken place this week in the WNBA. All right, let's now go to our Player of the Week award winners. So for the week of May the 21st, our Eastern Conference Player of the Week is Alyssa Thomas from the Connecticut Sun. And for the Western Conference, Nafisa Collier from the Minnesota Lynx. So again, congratulations to Alyssa Thomas, this week's Eastern Conference Player of the Week award winner. And for the Western Conference, Nafisa Collier. Congratulations to those ladies for achieving those Player of the Week award win, achieving the Player of the Week award. All right, now let's give you the current look at the standings in the WNBA. All right, so currently New York is in first place right now. They have a perfect record of 4-0. Currently in second place, the Connecticut Sun. They have a record of 3-0. Followed in third place by Minnesota. They have a record of 2-0. The Phoenix Mercury are next with a record of 2-1, followed by the Las Vegas Aces in fifth place with a record of 2-1. Atlanta's in sixth place with a record of 2-1. Chicago's in seventh with a record of 1-1. The Seattle Storm is in eighth place with a record of 2-3. The Dallas Wings are currently in ninth place with a record of 1-2. The Los Angeles Sparks in 10th place with a record of 1-2. Followed by the Washington Mystics. They're currently winless at 0-4. And the Indiana Fever are currently in last place with a record of 0-5. All right, so now it's time to give you the upcoming games in the W. So let's start off with action on Thursday, May the 23rd. We have the Minnesota Lynx going up against the Connecticut Sun. Action will take place at 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, between Minnesota and Connecticut, and you can watch that game on League Pass. Also at that same time, tipping off will be the Chicago Sky against the New York Liberty, and you can watch that game on Prime Video. And then at 10 o'clock p.m., 9 p.m. Central, it'll be Washington and Phoenix. You can also watch that game on Prime Video. On Friday, May the 24th, the Indiana Fever will square off against the Los Angeles Sparks. Tip-off is at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific, and you can watch that game on Ion and League Pass. Should be a good one involving CaitlinClark and, of course, Rakia Jackson and Cameron Brink. And also, there's just going to be some great stars in this contest. On Saturday, May the 25th, tip-off at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, with the New York Liberty going up against the Minnesota Lynx. You can watch that game on CBS. And then tip-off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, between the Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky. You can watch that game on CBS-SN and League Pass. And then tip-off at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time with the Indiana Fever going up against the Las Vegas Aces. You can watch that game on NBA TV and also on League Pass. This should be an interesting game. Two former teammates going up against one another. CaitlinClark going up against Kate Martin, two teammates from the University of Iowa. And, of course, you've got the defending champs in this thing where you've got Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum. Chelsea Gray still on injury, but Jackie Young has filled in so well has really taken a lot of the load since injury to Chelsea Gray. And Las Vegas right now, they're playing very well as of right now. And then also, too, we have tipping off at the same time at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific, the Washington Mystics against the against the Seattle Storm on League Pass. And then at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central Time, the Dallas Wings will square off against the Phoenix Mercury. You can watch that game on League Pass. Followed by on Sunday, May the 26th, tip-off at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central Time. The Minnesota Lynx will square off against the Atlanta Dream. You can watch that game on League Pass. And then tip-off at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. You can watch this game on League Pass with the Dallas Wings going up against the Los Angeles Sparks. And there you have it. Those are your games for the upcoming week in the W. So certainly a lot happening, a lot of moving, a lot of shaking going on. It's early, but it's excitement. It's excitement galore, and certainly not just with Caitlin, but everybody. I mean, just all of the talented women in the league giving us great play, giving us sound play. And, hey, how about the Seattle Storm? I said if you listen to the last show, Seattle was going to be the team that was definitely going to make some major noise in the first half of the year. So far, so good. And that's going to do it for this edition of the program. Until next time, everybody, I'm Ed Robinson saying so long, and you take care. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.